Assalamualaikum everyone. We are from Group N4 CS 2.16B2 supervised by Madam Azrina binti Abdul Hadi. We'll be presenting our final year project entitled Factors Influence on Body Mass Index Status among UiTM Seremban free students. Our group members are Muhammad Ani, Nur Ain and Nur Ahmad Nabila.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Ani Herman bin Muhammad Salim. So today I will go through chapter 1. So chapter 1 will cover about the background of the study, problem statement, significance of study, scope and limitation of the study, research objective, research question and research hypothesis. Okay, the background of the study for our project tell us that how to calculate BMI. BMI is a person weight in kilogram we divided with their square of height in meters, and the BMI which is greater than 30 we generally consider as obese, and the BMI which is greater than or equal to 25 we consider it as overweight. Obesity can cause heart disease, diabetes, cancer, hypertension and stroke. And the five is based on the Rampal 2007, 3,000 people estimated die each year of illness related to obesity. And then next we go to the problem statement. So the first is Malaysia is Asia's fattest country based on the Star Online. And the second is the National Health Morbidity Survey. The prevalence of the overweight and obesity among adults which is 18 years old and above was 30% and 70% in 2015, while the prevalence of the overweight and obesity in just under 2 decades has risen by 80.7% and 30.2%. And next, Malaysia has the highest rate of obesity and overweight among Asian countries based on Dr. Milton. And based on the problem statement, the BMI status of each respondent among students in UiTM Seremban 3 will be known based on the factor that may influence also their knowledge regarding BMI. Okay, next we go to the significance of study. The first one is taking the preventative the risk of having obesity by educating the members of society, especially the university student, on the factor contributing on BMI. And the second is to inspire the employee and society to adopt a healthier lifestyle. And then the third is help the nation reduce the number of obesity, thus lead to rising the consciousness among them in reducing chronic disease. Scope and limitation of the study is the first is the data collection has been conducted on total population on UiTM Seremban 3 student aged between 18 to 25 years old who will represent the sample population of the study. And then the next, this study was limited to sample of university student in UiTM Seremban 3 due to limited time. Is the high possibility of receiving less respondent from this total of students because they're dealing with COVID-19 scenario. Okay, there are two research objectives for this study. The first is to determine the level of knowledge regarding BMI among UiTM Seremban 3 students, and the number two is to determine significance factor contribute to BMI among UiTM Seremban 3 students. Okay, research question for this study also we have two, which is the first one is what is the level of knowledge regarding BMI among UiTM Seremban 3 students. And then the second one is how do the factor influence the BMI status among UiTM Seremban 3 students. This is the research hypothesis for our study. As you can see, there are 9 hypotheses for this study. I think that's all from me, Anik Herman. Thank you.
Thank you to Muhammad Hanik Herman. Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Ain binti Abu Bakar. I am the second presenter and I will present the methodology. Let's take a look on the research design. The study is a cross-sectional study. The study has been conducted within the limit of UiTM Seremban 3 students. The target population is 5,388 students from 3 faculty, FSR, FSKM and FSPPP. Next, let's move on to the theoretical framework. The theoretical framework have 3 variables, which is socio-demographic, level of knowledge regarding BMI, and perceived barrier to engaging physical activity. The third one is instrument. It is self-administered questionnaire. There are 3 sections. The first section targeted on demographic data that was prepared to get information on the age, gender, ethnicity, current semester, faculty, education level, weight and height of the body. The second section was the level of knowledge regarding BMI among UiTM Seremban students. The second section of this questionnaire is a tick question, yes or no. All the questions related to knowledge regarding BMI. Third section consists of 6 construct perceived barrier to engaging in physical activity. It was based on a 4-point rating scales. The population of the study is 5,388 diploma and degree students. The sample size is calculated using small sample technique from National Education Association. Based on the Cranjic and Morgan table, the sample size is 361. Taking into account 10% of the non-response rate, the sample size is 397 and we rounded to 400 students. For this study, the most suitable sampling method is stratified sampling. We decided to choose gender as a stratum. There are 1,602 male students and 3,786 female students. Using a formula in stratified sampling, we can see that 119 male students and 281 female students was chosen to be a respondent. The dependent variable in this study is BMI status. The independent variables are socio-demographic variable which consists of gender, age and education level. Another independent variable is perceived barrier to physical activity, which is lack of willpower, lack of self-confidence, lack of skill, lack of enjoyment, lack of time and lack of energy. The level of knowledge regarding BMI will also be measured in the study to achieve the first objective. The first objective is using descriptive analysis. To achieve the first objective, all the answers from respondents in section B in the questionnaire are being counted by counting the number of yes and no for each question. The score from each question is being totaled up and used for analysis in SPSS. Therefore, the level of knowledge regarding BMI among UiTM Seremban students will be high if the total score of yes for all questions in section B are high and vice versa. For second objective, we use multinomial logistic regression. After all assumptions are valid, multinomial logistic regression will be performed. Thank you, and let's proceed to the last presenter.
Thank you, Nur Ain, for your presentation. Assalamualaikum, I am Nur Akmal Nabila, the third presenter. So, as you can see here, the table clearly shows the description of the respondents who involved in this study. Out of 400 students, 397 had participated voluntarily. Therefore, this study have high response rate of 94.75%. Let's proceed to the analysis of the first objective, which is the descriptive statistic on the level of knowledge regarding BMI. Based on the questions from the questionnaires, most of the respondents answered yes, and as you can see, the percentage of yes answer in the graph is also high compared to the no answer. Therefore, we can conclude that the students in Seremban do have high level of knowledge regarding BMI. Take note that in order to educate a person regarding obesity or BMI or anything, the person itself needs to have a higher level of knowledge regarding in it. So, let us move to the second objective analysis. For this objective, multinomial logistic regression analysis had been applied as the dependent variable of this study is a nominal, which is BMI status, that divided to 4 categories: underweight, normal, overweight, and obesity. To proceed with multinomial logistic regression analysis, 6 assumptions need to be fulfilled, while the first assumptions had been fulfilled earlier. For the second assumptions, the study needs to have 1 or more independent variables, which is in this study, perceived barriers to physical activity and socio-demographics are the independent variables. Thirdly, note that each student who took part in this study is counted as an observation, and the dependent variable BMI status is mutually exclusive. Next, the fourth assumption is fulfilled as the observations are equally spaced out along the line, and the scatter plot, as you can see from the graph, are also symmetric both above and below the straight line. The data also fulfill the fifth assumption, which it has no presence of outliers in it, as no value in valid column exceeds absolute value of 2.0.
Lastly, no multicollinearity exists since no value in VIF column exceed 10. The value in tolerance also not below 0.1, and lastly, both the average of VIF and tolerance also not below 2.0. Thus, multinomial logistic regression could be proceed. Based on the p-value from the significant column is less than 0.05, therefore we can conclude that the model is significant. There are 4 variables that are significantly predicted, the dependent variables, which are gender level, well-being, enough sleep, and rest, based on the likelihood ratio test table. So let us take a look on the parameter estimates table. Note that the perceived barriers to physical activity has 6 barriers, which are lack of willpower, self-confidence, enjoyment, time, and energy. Unfortunately, there are no underweight respondents in this study. Hence, there are only 2 sets of logistic regression coefficient in this table, which are normal and overweight, as the obese had become the reference group. The table from the slide is a summary of the variables that are statistically significant from the overweight set of coefficients, since all the variables in the normal set of coefficients are not statistically significant. Note that all the variables that are in this table, exclude gender level, are representing all 6 barriers to physical activities. The sign of coefficients are determining whether the respondents are more likely to be overweight or obese based on the agreeing on the statements. By comparing these 2 types of table, note that likelihood ratio test table is mostly being used for the nominal independent variable, since it is the only table that considers the overall effect of a nominal variable. Therefore, the factors that are contributed to the second objective are gender, lack of enjoyment, and lack of energy. As for the conclusion, from the first objective, we figured that there are still students who still lack of knowledge regarding BMI. The fact that less than 1/4 of the students who are involved should be alarming. The incorrect evaluation of BMI also indicates that there are still a few population that hold a higher risk for overweight or obesity among UiTM Seremban 3 students. From the second objective, we figured that students tend to have less of enjoyment and energy to do any sort of physical activities. Maybe one of the reasons is because they feel tired after attending class or do not get enough sleep. To optimize functioning, students must find a balance between academic and any curricular or social activities. Just give yourself some rest and enjoyment in doing things other than studies. Moreover, physical and emotional well-being also plays a major role in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Last but not least, we recommend to the future researcher to add more relevant variables to determine the significant factors contributed to BMI status. The need for increase and attention, implementation and utilization of knowledge on health and BMI also are recommended. Lastly, use a representative sample to develop an appropriate results in the future replication of study.